Sabine. Can I count on you?
You know you can.
Destroy it! Step away from her! No!
Well, episode 4 just dropped, and aside from some lightsaber action and fan service, there really isn't much going on. The entire plot of this episode is essentially waiting for the map to download so they can go find Thrawn. We start off with Ahsoka and Sabine being attacked while repairing their ship. What seems strange is that they need to repair their ship again. Sabine already repaired the ship, which is how they landed in the first place. Communications were being jammed, which isn't something they can fix with a little rewiring. They would need to destroy the source of the jamming signal, so what exactly is the robot doing? It's like we're dealing with two different writers that aren't worried about continuity. Another thing that didn't make sense is that they didn't seem to sense the enemy approaching. Apparently, they can only sense each other when it's convenient for the plot, but can't do it when it would make the most sense, like when you're hiding from another Jedi. Filoni depicts sensing someone as hit or miss. Vader sensed Luke on the shuttle to Andor, and literally every time Obi-Wan was close by, so it seems rather dumb to pretend that it works sometimes and not others. In this instance, Shin is right outside of the ship, but no one seems to realize that until she attacks. Ahsoka fights Merrick but ends it in one strike. She cuts his suit and he explodes with black smoke shooting out of his chest. I guess we all know now what happened to the smoke monster from Lost. I'm not sure what's going on with the character, but my best guess is that he's either a magic puppet or an ascended being that requires a suit like Anubis from Stargate SG-1. Instead of teaming up with Sabine to defeat Shin, Ahsoka runs off to find Baylan, who is downloading the hyperspace coordinates from the map. This was right after the robot lectured her on the importance of sticking together.
May I make one request of you both? Stay together. You always did better that way, in my opinion.
We better get moving. Together.
Ahsoka could have ended Shin in seconds, but decided to run off alone. We all know that Sabine is a Mandalorian in name only. She was told to her face that she was the weakest Jedi that ever existed. She was left to fight a Force user alone, so clearly it isn't going to end any differently than before. Sabine has lost every fight and gives up the second someone mentions Ezra's name. Sabine ended up beaten on the ground again. The second she failed to use the Force, Shin realized that she had the advantage. She beats Sabine down, but instead of finishing her off, she decides to retreat throwing smoke bombs. Why would she do this? She was clearly winning and could have ended Sabine with one swing of her lightsaber. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Shin is going to the stone altar. Sabine knows where it's located and isn't exactly hiding the direction of her escape. Ray Stevenson's Baylan stole the show. He may not have a lot to work with as far as lines go, but he put in a lot of effort and does great work. We find out that Baylan wants to start another war, because you have to destroy in order to build. The question remains, what is he trying to build? Ahsoka defeats Baylan momentarily, and instead of slicing the map in half with her lightsaber, she decides to grab it, burning her hand. Is this all it takes to cripple Ahsoka? A hand burn? I've seen worse burns from a stovetop. What makes even less sense is that suddenly she couldn't fight with her good hand, which is the one with the lightsaber. She started stumbling and rolling towards the cliff. It's not like she wasn't aware of her surroundings. Earlier, she was jumping off of rocks, but after she burned her hand, she couldn't even stand. Sabine shows up with a gun aimed at the map, threatening to destroy it to save Ahsoka. Baylan ignored her, knocked Ahsoka off of a cliff to her death, then sweet-talked Sabine into giving him the map. Sabine really is the weakest character in the show. She just watched her mentor get murdered, and gave up the one thing she was told not to simply because Ezra's name was mentioned. Sabine then surrenders and is taken prisoner. Hera arrives with some X-Wings after disobeying orders, and was totally useless. We shouldn't have expected much in the first place since her co-pilot was her 8-year-old son. What kind of a general brings an infant child to an enemy incursion? Hera decides to block the ring's path so they can't escape. How does she block the ring? The ships gathered together in a tight cluster roughly the size of the ring hole. She could have spread out into a line, but that wouldn't allow them to escape. She could have fired at the ring the second she was in range, but instead she narrates everything the ring is doing. It's powering up. They're about to leave. Fire your guns! Hera is the worst general in the history of the Republic, and her son isn't much better. He tells her that he has a bad feeling after the enemy escapes and several people die. Really? Isn't this something you say before bad things happen as a means of foreshadowing, not after the fact after everything goes wrong? It felt like someone edited the scene in the wrong order.
Mom? I've got a bad feeling.
Bruh.
The episode ends with the hypergate running through Hera, since she conveniently fit right inside the empty space at the center of the ring. If you recall in The Last Jedi, the last time we saw a ship go to light speed through a solid object, it exploded. Clearly the physics have changed. Ahsoka then wakes up between life and death, where she's confronted by Anakin Skywalker. Honestly, I wouldn't be too devastated if they killed off Ahsoka 4 episodes in. You almost need a female character to die in order to balance things out, because so far it's just all men that die from gunfire and lightsabers, and all the women seem to survive no matter what you do to them. The episode was still pretty bad overall, despite the fan service and the de-aged Hayden Christensen and the lackluster lightsaber duels. Ray Stevenson is the only thing that's keeping the show going. He's the only actor with enough presence and mystery to keep fans coming back. If you liked what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you for listening.